Now, everybody, just to show you some kind of syntax and to prove to you that I knew what I was talking about, when you are making your own functions, like I was saying before, you can reference a function like we usually do, like we do here. You can reference it here, and then what you would do afterwards is build it here, so that what you would get if I were to say in this, in inner HTML of new thing, we wanted to add the result of this function to this text that we put in here. We could just do that, and then we hit change. As you can see, there's the answer, there's what we added to it. So that's how you would want to do it. You could also put it beforehand, but remember that everything, I mean, you could make this function, you could put it here on top of it. Because programming is top to bottom, it'd be the same thing. Like a lot of people, their conventions are that they will reference their own function and then put it together beneath it, but it doesn't matter. I would say it's better syntax to put it first. This way, when you're typing up the function that you're using this function, you can kind of look up and see, oh yeah, that's what I was doing. But now, as I've said, we can use new thing for functions. Through any function that we make at this point, we can reference new thing. We can reference change. And we can put change anywhere that we have a username of, or a text box with the ID of username, or text area, whatever, with an ID of username, and a text area or input or password input or email input of text place. We can use change anywhere we want, and we can use new thing anywhere. Okay? So there you go. There's the functions portion. We're going to get back to that in a bit. But first, let's talk about forms, baby. Let's talk about forms. Let me get to... I had a form here, right? Do I have one somewhere else? No, I don't. Okay, let's make a form. Now, I've mentioned forms before, and no, I don't want to hear. Let's go to process. Let's just make a form. And we've talked about it before. So let's talk about it again. And we're just building a simple. We're not going nuts. We'll put different types in there. And I'm not sure if you're noticing a pattern, but I'll put text area. Okay. And then, of course, we put a button. Okay. Again, if you're doing forms in JavaScript, you can do inputs, submits, but we're going to just do buttons with on-click functions or events. So that's what we're doing here. So let's go to process. Okay. So here's our form, right? Let me put my heading in there. Hold on. Okay, we'll just do this. And then we'll put we got a JavaScript again. Okay, there we go. So we're good. Okay, so, oh yeah, because I never did style the password email. Let's do that while we're at it. This was practice, right? Since I showed you already, we can just do this. Now you probably, well, you should be able, or should have been able, to tell me how to change that, or tell yourself how to change that. This looks like shit. What happened here? Let's do something in a text area while we're at it. Text area looks horrible. That's 200 pixel. Oh. Okay. So anyway, forms. And let me BR that while we're at it. Okay. So anyway, forms. Now, if we were to press this button, nothing's going to happen. It'll just give you that question mark because it's in a form. It's a button in a form. And HTML has it coded that by default, the form will be sent to something else or somewhere else or whatever, which is why when you do that, when you send it, you get that question mark because it's trying to send variables. Now, we don't have anything here. We don't have anything in this form. But forms work in JavaScript in a certain way. Now, first let's tell it what we're going to use. We're going to use method equals to post, and we're not going to touch the enc type right now, but we're going to say on submit event.prevent default. Now that, again, even if I haven't had mentioned it before, which I did, this again should look familiar to you. Event, that's the object, the event object, and this is the functionality within the event object that we're going to use. It's JavaScript, that's how it works. And that means when I hit this, nothing's going to happen. We're not going to get that question mark because we told it not to do anything. So, with JavaScript, what you can do is you can take this information and you can make it into a form object. Now, send form. Because when you process forms in HTML or whatever, you want it to be dynamic. You want the information that's being put in there to be sent to something or somewhere, and then for that to do whatever you want it to do. So with that, we want to create variables of all the IDs. We'll do first equals document get element by ID, first value, second. And again, you can use lets, you can use const, doesn't make any difference to me. Play around with it. That's what she said. Third. So now with forms, we've already done something that resembles this. We already did, what was it again, math or whatever. Remember we did math and that was an object. This one we would say var form stuff. And what it would be with new form data. Now form data, I want to show you. Form data, as I said, is an object. And it has specific characteristics to it. When we send the form, which is all this, we want the form data to be able to append it. So we would go form stuff.append, and we would give it first, and that would be first. Form stuff append second, second. Form stuff append third, third. Form stuff append fourth, fourth. So, where's my W3 schools? I want to show you that there are a bunch of different things that you can do. Where's W3 schools? See, like I said, when you look at this stuff, wait, fetch, we'll get into that, but you don't really need to worry about that stuff. But as you see here, we're just putting in the values, right? So if we put in the values when we do this form, now just said, if you want to undo a form process, even if you didn't allow the default, just go to the URL area and just hit enter. It refreshes it completely. Or you can hit Control F5. That's like a hard refresh. But if we were to do this, nothing's going to happen. And the reason is because we didn't tell it really. We just appended this thing called form stuff. But what we can do is we can then say, I could say document.write form stuff write first. Is it right or I forgot? No, I forgot. Yeah, I forgot. What was it again? I really should look this up before I start hanging with you guys. But there we go. This is what I was looking for. Now, because I want to just kind of show you like all the different things you can do with it. Now, of course, like I said, with JavaScript, I don't usually do anything that requires putting people's data there. And I would suggest you don't either, because again, it's all front end. And when you have anything in the front end, it makes a mess. So it's too easy to hack. It's bad. So let me see. append, get all, that's the one, that's the one. Okay. Get, it's not right, it's get. All right, so do that first. And then you can see we have first, right? So now if we were to get all, and we do first, and we do second, and we do third, and we do fourth and stuff. When we hit send, do I have to put, wait, hold on. Do I have to put anything in here? What if I were to put fourth? I've forgotten. You see, like, that's the thing, is because, like I said, I don't use JavaScript for forms and stuff, so yeah, okay. It's just going to give me the fourth. I mean, I guess, you know what, like with get all, it would, because when we do like what I'm about to do, you're going to need that. But that would be it. So now what you can do, and then again, like you can see all these other things, you can check and see if it has something set, values. Let's do values. I don't know if I have to put anything in that, but there should be we should be getting some kind of like object. Object iterator, I mean, that's not really. But like I said, it's another one of these built-in objects. And when you can make your own objects, we're going to make objects soon, but you can make your own objects, and what these objects do is they append these things. Like you can use the append functionality, and then it will just put the values. So whatever you put in here, we can then use it here, and we can see it if we wanted to write it. We'll see it pop up. Now, you don't have to just document write it. You can send it somewhere, which is the point of all this, for it to save in a spot, but you can alert it to, right? Like you can go alert. I want to show you the console log, but I can't right click yet, so we'll do that when I come back. I'm going to get a new mouse, don't worry. And then we get second. You know, like you can do whatever you want with those values, or you can make those values go somewhere else. Now here's the thing, and I'm just going to begin this, and then we'll continue this next. We can also do anc type equals multipart, not monthly, form data, which means we're going to throw in there a file type. Let's put a VR in there. And now this opens up a whole new bag of cats, because now we have a file type and if we were to do something like send form, and we would go, we can't just go, what did I call this? I called it pick, right? we can just go pick equals document get element by ID, pick value. And then we can alert. We can do that. There's one problem with that. The problem is we're going to get this big ass name thing, but that doesn't look like a file to me. And that's what we're going to have to discuss when I come back. We're going to talk about what files really are and how to break them down in JavaScript and exactly how that relates to what we might be doing in the future. So I'll be back in a sec.